are undigested byproducts. Woo, I can hear myself. Of masses of bone, teeth, hair, feathers, and sometimes exoskeletons of various animals preyed upon by raptors or birds of prey. So all birds that eat other animals do this, like hawks and eagles, even some robins and blue jays. The stuff they can't digest, they have to throw up. Okay? So bones, hair, teeth, exoskeletons, if it's like a robin. And so, several hours after eating, an owl produces 1 to 2 pellets by regurgitating, and that means to throw up. The relatively weak stomach muscles of the bird form an undigested fur, bone, and feather, slimy, wet pellet. In this process, even the most fragile bones are usually preserved unbroken. So, the bird does this to get rid of it because it can't go through its digestive tract. And the way they get these is barn owls obviously are in barns, and so they're easy to find because that's where they roost. It's not impossible, but it's hard to find like an eagle or a hawk pellet because they're not always in the same place. So we use barn owl pellets because they're pretty predictable, okay? It occupies the highest level of its own trophic pyramid and may be used as an ecological indicator to recreate a trophic pyramid based on the diet of a barn owl and its prey. The purpose of this lab exercise is to reconstruct a trophic pyramid estimating primary productivity required to supply the barn owl with food. So primary productivity is going to be your producers. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some math to figure out how much producers it requires to feed a barn owl, okay? And we're also going to figure out if it's good for farmers to have owls on their property. I think you probably already know the answer to that, but we're going to look at the data, okay? So you should have an owl pellet between the two of you. If you're by yourself, that's fine too. Toothpicks and tweezers or tweezers. You won't probably have both. Safety goggles. If you want some, I'll give you some. Does anybody want any safety goggles? Okay. And bone chart. There should be a bone chart, which is a chart with bone pictures on it. Do you see that? Okay. You will dissect the owl pellets, and you're only going to do one. And you must work quickly and carefully to separate the pellet while keeping the major bones for identification intact. Major bones include skulls, jaws, shoulder blades, forelimbs, hind limbs, and hips. Use the dissecting probes and tweezers, or we have toothpicks, to do most of your dissection. It will quickly separate the fur from the bone without doing much destruction. I've also given you a pipette with some water if it needs softening, but I caution you this makes it messier, and if you put too much water on it, you get owl puke soup, which is not good, okay? So only use the water if you really can't get the fur off the bones or you can't get it open. Owl pellets themselves are ecosystems providing food and shelter for communities of primary consumers, including decomposers. So inside the pellet, you may see beetles or things like that were trying to eat the pellet before it got collected. Sometimes you can see fungi growing. They'll be like this white stuff. These pellets have been disinfected. They've been subjected to UV light and heat. However, it is not wise for you to touch your face after messing with these because you could still possibly get salmonella, okay? So keep your hands off your face, and after you're finished, you need to wash your hands, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and crack them open. This is your pellet. Everybody should have gotten a pellet. And unwrap it like a Christmas present. Yeah, take it out. Well, hopefully, if you do it right, you want to break it open. All right. So remember, you don't want to put much water at all on it. If you can avoid water, it's probably even better. And you take your 2 toothpicks and you're just going to start digging in. See if you can get it open. Yeah, mine's dry too. I'm going to have to add some water. Get some water. There's a sink right over there. You shouldn't have soup. You should just moisten it. Honey, right there. Okay? All right, so once it's moistened, you should be able to get it kind of going. There should be a bunch of bones. Yay, I got mine open finally. I've got more toothpicks up here if your toothpick breaks. Okay. Now, I don't know if y'all can see it on my screen, but I think you can. These right here are super important. These are the jaws. Every rodent is going to have 2 jaws. So if you find 4 of these, that means you've got 2 of something. So you're going to pull those out and put them to the side. There's a lot of bones that aren't very important, like vertebrae or ribs. Don't worry so much about those. We want these skulls and jaws in particular. Yep, you're pulling out the bones. And what you're going to do is you're going to put those on your bone chart to try and figure out what it is. All right, so I've got a pretty good skull. Now, not everybody will have a completely intact skull because sometimes they do get broken, but this is a pretty good skull right here. That's what it looks like from the top. This is from the side. Okay. So, this is 1 skull and 2 jawbones. Okay, so that right there is 1 animal because you have to have 2 jawbones and 1 skull. Does everybody see that? Do I have a, okay? All right, so 1 skull and 2 jawbones. Then you're going to take your bone chart. Well, that's what the whole lab's about, is finding out what it was. You're going to take your bone chart and you're going to look for your skull first. And I personally think that I have a rodent here. So have a rodent? Think that matches pretty good? I think I do. But if I'm not sure, I can always go down here and look at the jawbone and see if the jaws match. So I'm pretty sure I have a rodent. See how that matches? Okay. So I now know that I have one rodent. So on my let's see here. On my lab document here, I'm going to go to this chart and I'm going to put one rat. Now, a rodent, if it's big, is a rat, and if it's a mouse, it's small. And I'm going to circle that because that right there is my data. Okay? This right here is from the other class, so I'm going to erase all that. So for yours, you're going to put however many you find in that column that says number of individuals, and you're going to circle it because we're going to actually add everybody's data into this table, but you want to circle your data. So now I'm going to keep looking because I don't think that I've got everything out of my pellet yet. And you may find like pieces of grass and stuff in there. Where did that grass come from? That's right. Looky there. There's a seed. Y'all see that seed in mine? If y'all see those seeds, did the owl eat that seed? No. Whatever it ate that seed. So that's going to be helpful too because that's good. I had one first period that had 5 mouse skulls in it. He ate 5 mice. Must have. I have no idea how old they are. Yeah, some of them just will have one thing in it. If it was, especially if it was big, like if it was one rat or one mouse. Yeah, sharp teeth. All right. I think I only have one. Some of you probably have more than that. So you all continue to look at yours. And if you need help, I'll be happy to come around and help you identify. You got 2. That's one of these right here, the pelvic bone, or it might be a hind limb. I'm not sure. It's probably a hind limb. See that bone right there? It's got that real thin thing. And these are really small. I would say these are shrews. So while one of you is digging it out, the other one needs to be matching it on the bone chart here. Yeah, place them on the bone chart. So, yep. I'd say it goes, well, let's look at it. Yep, right there. It's a shrew. Yeah, shrews are really small, so many times they'll more than one shrew. Mine looked different than these this time. Really? Yeah, look what they. Oh, sorry. Let me show you. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me show you what they look like. I followed her new directions. Of course, I printed them out colored, but this is what they look like. And guess what they had an option to do? Send to parent via email, and I did. Cool. I think they updated it or something. Ashley changed it in the big book of Synergy. You doing okay, Lily? You got fur on you. These right here are little shrew jaws. So these go right here. So this is one shrew because there's two for every shrew. You'll be all right. You're protected. All you gotta do is wash your hands afterwards. Do you lick your jacket? You'll be okay. You might want to wash it tonight. That's the thing about salmonella. It has to get in your body. Okay, so y'all got a lot of something, and it looks like shrews. So this is one shrew. This is two shrews. This will be another one, three shrews, and these are the skulls. So I think you got three shrews. Doing okay? Where's your bones you've gotten out so far? Right here. Okay, so that's a mouse. So you got one mouse. Keep digging. You must have had an itty bitty one. Where's your jaws and your skull? Oh, that's going to be hard. You're going to have to do it by leg bones. So let's see here. It actually looks like a mole, which probably what happened here because it was so small is he barfed up most of the mole in the first one, and there was some left over, and you got the leftover. So I don't know. I guess that goes right here. I think it was a mole. It was probably one big mole. See if you can make those fit in this mole column. Y'all doing okay? Woo! Lots of itty bitties. Well, I think they're shrews. I think it's 6 because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you should have 12 jaws total. Oh, 7. I didn't know you had one in your hand. So 14 jaws total. Wow, 7 shrews. He was a hungry owl. Well, these are all the bones that go into the fore and hind limbs. So you can try and put those on here if you want, or you can just go by skulls and jaws. So you got 1, 2 definitely, which goes with this. I think you have 2 shrews, and that's probably all you have is 2 shrews. You got to get it on your chart up here. How you doing? Tons of bones. I'm looking for jaws and skulls. I don't think I've got a single one. Now yours may be like, I think you may have something. Nope, no teeth on that. I think you got a big old rat's what I think you got. I'm leaning rat, but keep looking. It might be. Sometimes the skull does get crushed. No, it's not an eye socket. That's one of those four hind limb bones of some kind. Y'all doing okay? I think this is shrew. See how this is like curved up and this one's curved down, more like the shrew. This jaw is important because that means you've got more than one. Goal. Yeah. Put them on the bone chart as you get them out. Well, that happens sometimes. This right here is important. You're looking for jaw bones. It's a teeny shrew jaw. I believe those are, like, if you flip it over on the back, you can see, I believe that's a scapula. Yeah, so that's not on this chart, but you can see it right there. This one's going to be one of these pelvic bones, and it looks to be shrew. Shrews and mice are really small. Oh, yeah, that's a shrew. Put it right there. Shrews and mice, guys, are really small. Moles and rats are huge. Okay? No, don't go this far yet. You're circling yours. We're going to put the whole class's data in this chart. I think that is a shrew, yes. Was there going to be anything else like this? You haven't finished this yet. I will see. I'll be there in just a second. That is it's going to be part of the scapula. It's not really an important bone. It's on the back of this bone chart if you want to see it. Yes. Yeah, those are ribs and vertebrae. They're not necessarily useful. You need to be looking for these bones up here. These are not as useful. You do have bones. Huh? Yeah, there's some vertebrae in there. That's one of these right here. I think so. Yeah. I don't know. It might be a forelimb or a hind limb bone. I think it's this one right here. I think you just got one mole, half a mole. Those are tiny, probably shrew bones. Those are going to be like all these little bones in the hind and forelimbs. Yeah, once you've got how many you think is in your pellet, it's time to start putting the data in. So turn your attention to the screen for just a moment, please. So up here where it says number of individuals, the only thing that I really want you to put in from your pellet is how many of each of these things you had. So if you had what you thought was a rodent and it was big, you're going to call it a rat. If it was small and it looked like a rodent, you're going to call it a mouse. I've seen a whole lot of voles, though. So if it's teeny, it's going to be a shrew, since we don't have vole up here. I've seen at least one mole. I have not seen any birds. Okay? So my pellet had one rat in it, and that's what I wrote right here was one rat. So right now, whatever you've got, write that in and circle it. And I need you to go ahead and get something out to do math with. Chromebook will work because we need to do a few calculations. Yeah, after you're done with your bones, everything that's disposable, like the fur and the bones and the gloves, throw that away in the trash can and then put everything back to the side on your desk. put it in the trash after you've recorded your data. You don't need those. Those are clavicles. They're these. They're not on the bone chart. Except for I broke the skull off. Yeah, everything that's disposable, including your bones, after you've got it recorded, you can toss them. If the toothpick's not broken, keep it. Yeah, the sinks are along the side there. Have you recorded your data? Then yes. Probably so. Yep.
Like it's broken.
Mhm.
What would you say that belonged to?
Probably a shrew. Did you have some shrews?
Yeah, I think there's like we had two, but it was like the full body of another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got two shrews. Actually, we got two shrews.
Well, we're fixing to write all that down. All right, so we're fixing to record everybody's data. So after you get cleaned up, you need to get your Chromebook out and open up to the assignment. Do what? Do you know how many organisms you have? You don't have a pencil. There's some up there in the student center. I would. Yeah. All right, once you've cleaned up, put all the utensils back in the tray and set it to the side, and then get out your Chromebook. Yes. Just as long as you know how many of what you've got. Okay, guys, make sure if you're in a big group, you've got your mask up, please. All right, once you have cleaned up, get your Chromebooks out and open them up to the assignment. All right, clean up, wash your hands, and then get your Chromebook out and open up to the assignment, please. You're going to be okay. I promise. But I am. So have confidence in me. Don't be afraid. Have confidence in me. I have a degree in science. You're not going to get salmonella. All right. So line using Cami. So you should open up your paper on Cami, and we're going to write in our numbers. No, because I only gave one per table. Your what? There's a Chromebook here on the edge, I think. Do you see it? Is it under the... No. It's dead. Okay, move to where you can plug it in, so you can bring it up here and plug it in. There should be a charger up there. All right, so we're going to grab everybody's data. So I'm going to tabulate that while you're getting everything pulled up. I need to know, when I call your name, how many of what kind of animal you had, okay? Yeah, you're doing it online. So, Lily, what was in your pellet? I can. I'll come back to you. Eduardo and Jaden, what was in your pellet? 3 shrews. Okay. Xavier and Sarah, what was in your pellet? 1 mouse. Okay. Olivia and Leonora, what was in your pellet? How many shrews? 8? Was it 4? Did you find 8 jaws? So were there 2 of them for every of that? Did you have 6? Did you have 16 jaws? Is what I'm saying, or did you have 8 jaws? It was 4, I think, because remember, everyone has 2 jaws. Okay. All right, Jackson. 2 shrews. Okay. Riley and Holly-Ann. 3 shrews. Okay. Callie and Gabe. 3 shrews. Sean and Briley. 2 shrews. Laura. 1 mole. Ooh. Christopher, you need to turn your mic off. You're in my ear. Michael and Edward. 3 what? 3 shrews. Elijah. 1 mouse. Scarlett. 7 shrews. Okay. Peyton. 2 shrews. A bird. Okay. All right. Gage and Kimberly. You're by yourself? You're with who? Oh, Scarlett. Okay. Jason and Kylie. So we're going to call that rodent or rat. Okay. Okay. So we're ready to write this in. Yeah. So guys, you're writing this data in, okay? So we had 3 mice, 1 rat, 1 bird, 1 mole, and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 26 shrews. Okay? So 3 mice, you're writing in what I'm writing, okay? 1 mole, 26 shrews. Oh, and we forgot to put in my rat. I had a rat. So we had 2 rats. 2 rats, 1 bird, and then nobody found anything like a lizard or anything like that, did they? So these are 0. All right, so the number of pellets were 12. We had 12 pellets total. I make that 13 because I forgot to put mine in there. Is that right? 13 pellets? Okay. So how many had a mouse in their pellet? Raise your hand. If you had a mouse in your pellet, raise it high. No, just one person from the table. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 pellets had a mouse. How many had a mole? Laura? 1. How many had shrews? Whew. Raise them high. Just one from the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10. How many had rats? 2. Me and whoever the other person was that had a rodent. And 1 had a bird. Okay. So it says now we have to get the average. So how do we get the average? It's in that question or in the statement above. The total of individuals and the number of pellets to find the average. So we're going to divide this by this, okay? So you should have a calculator feature, but we don't have to do the math there. It's 3. And this one's 1. Somebody do 26 divided by 10. 2.6. Yes, I don't know what I'm doing. Hang on. Good catch. That's right. And 2 divided by 2. Okay. And then these are blank. Okay? Now what I need you to do is go on the internet and look up the diet of whatever it is that your pellet had in it. So if you had a mouse, go look that up. If you had a mole, look that up. Look up shrew, rat, and bird, and write that in. Okay? Give you about 3 minutes to do that. Now you're working on your own copy, okay? Edward, are you putting your stuff in? Okay. I had a rat, so I'll put diet of rat. Your animals. So if you had 2 different kinds, you have to do 2. I would put diet of rat in the wild because there's so many people that have like pet rats. When I pull it up, I'm getting like what to feed my pet rat. Rats are omnivores and they will eat just about anything. All right, so for mine, I'm just going to put in here fruits, grains, seeds, and other rodents and insects. Okay? And I'm going to spell fruits wrong. I still don't have it. Yeah, I'm just going to have people say what they eat. So, what did y'all get for mouse? What does a mouse eat? Fruits, seeds, grains. What does a mole eat? Earthworms and what? I think they also eat insects too. What do shrews eat? Other rodents. What's a bird eat? Who had the bird? I cannot spell. Okay? So you should have something like that in your chart. Okay? Once you have the diet filled out, then we can do our trophic pyramid, right? So what goes up here at the top? What? The owl. Okay? And do it for your organisms, okay? So it says here to assume, I think it said to assume that let's see, to construct a representative ecosystem, you will first need to reconstruct the next two trophic levels, which will relate to the organisms eaten by the owl's prey, the primary consumers, and the organisms eaten by the primary consumers, which are the producers. So what did, I had a rat, so it said they eat mice. We'll just go ahead and put mice there. I'm sorry, I had a rat. So I put a rat there. And then I can put a mouse because I only had one. Those of you who had more than one are going to have to fit both of yours in there. So mice. Yep. Rats eat anything they want. It's, you know, they are, but shrews also eat mice. They're a lot of rats, if you've ever had like hamsters or gerbils, sometimes they eat their babies. They're cannibalistic. Yeah. Do it for yours. Okay? So that's all you have to get through today, is that right there. We're going to do the rest of our math on Monday. And since this took longer than I anticipated, we're bumping our test until Wednesday. I know that breaks your heart. More time for you to study, Edward. All right, so after you have your pyramid filled out, you're going to do that save thing, remember? Save, advanced export, Google Drive, with annotations, export. And then we can open it back up on Monday.